What's going on, guys? My name is Aaron Turner. Right now I'm getting dressed to go to my girlfriend's father's birthday party, and my brain is thinking a million miles a minute, and I'm always thinking about philosophical things and myself. I'm very aware of being alive. I'm very aware that any action that I choose to take, like that, I have the choice to do at any point in time. But I'm also aware that that action may have been predetermined, such as me making this video. Some could say that I had the free will to turn on my camera and make this video, or some could say that this video was supposed to be made by me, and that me posting it to YouTube, and that whoever comes across it and watches it was supposed to be watching it at that point in time. We really don't know whether or not free will exists and that we have the option to make certain choices, or if we are merely thrown into a cockpit of possible timelines of things that already have occurred. It's very interesting, especially when you think about how humans came to be, right? And excuse me because I'm going to be getting dressed while I talk, but it's very interesting how humans came to be. They talk about dinosaurs being here before, or some kind of life form, or a meteor hitting the earth which allowed us to then be born. I just wonder what's after us. I wonder if some other kind of catastrophic world-ending thing will come about that will allow a different life form to come on this planet and to live. I wonder if it'll look like us. I wonder if it won't. Will I be mad? Well, no, not really. I probably won't ever even live to see that day. You know, I've had my opportunity. I'm alive. I was born into this world. A lot of times, that really is how I feel. Is like, oh, I was born into this world. Therefore, every decision that I've made and every person that I've come across and everything that I've done was already meant to be. Some people have needed me. Like I've said certain things to people and they'd be like, yo, if you didn't tell me that, like, who knows where my life would be? It's like, well, I didn't mean to tell you that. I just felt compelled to. Why the thought came into my brain, or why I was even giving the genetic code to come up with an idea like that to then tell you, it's far beyond anything that I can understand. So sometimes it does feel like there's something bigger at play here. Something that we have absolutely no control over. So it's very, very interesting. Free will versus determinism, I guess, would be the conversation that we're having this around. Do we have free will to make the choices that we do every day? Or are things predetermined based on our genetic makeup and who we are? And when I say predetermined based on who we are, it's like, okay, I posted my YouTube that I do push-ups. I try and do 150 push-ups a day. I take 2 rest days throughout the week, but I have a certain will that pushes me to do that. The reason why I have that will is because I've been through certain things in my life that could have broken me, but my will at that point in time didn't allow me to be broken. It allowed me to persevere, and that perseverance allowed me to be here today to then make certain videos and do certain things that other people would not do. So when other people look at my life and look at what I'm doing, they go, Aaron, how are you able to? And I go, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a byproduct of choices. And it's not even just my choices. I'm a byproduct of choices that other people made. If my mother and father didn't conceive me, I wouldn't even be here standing here today to make choices that would affect other people's lives. So it's not just up to me. It's up to the people who came before me and their choices, and the people who came before them and their choices. We're all just a byproduct of our predecessors' decisions that led us to this point. And then our choices will then inevitably influence future generations to then make their own choices. But I don't like the fact that in the society and world, we point the finger at other people and we blame them for why their life is the way that there is, when we know that it's not just 100% up to free will. Not only do we blame people, but we house them in jails, we throw them in mental institutions, We hook them up to an electric chair and murder them. We blame people for being poor, or we blame people for being like this or like that, or we blame murderers for murdering. We blame people for being sick. We blame all kind of people for things that we know it's not 100% up to free will. You know? Some things might be predetermined. You know, and what led me on this path of this philosophy was that my mom was killed when I was 18. And I've always been a very intelligent guy, and I had to somehow intellectually try to wrap my head around why. Was her death meant to be? Because if it wasn't meant to be, then like I wouldn't really be the person that I am today to be able to discuss certain things. Or maybe I would be, but I don't really see how. Considering that the reason of that breaking my brain is what made me start to look at things in a completely different way. It's like when someone's walking across the street and they get hit by a car. Did that person know that when they woke up that day that would be their last day alive? Did the person driving the car know that they would be killing somebody that day? I would say that if I asked both of them, they would say no. So if that's the case, what randomness, what random cohesiveness allows an event like that to occur? I don't know. Because you would think that if it was someone's last day, they would at least be given the opportunity to know that it would be. And you would think that if someone was going out to kill somebody innocent by accident, that they would at least know that they would be doing that. Now, this person who drove the car has to go to jail for 10, 15, 20 years, and this person who died. Aren't those consequences far too grave for neither person to at least have a heads up about what the fuck is going on? Maybe not. Maybe there's no consequence too grave or no consequence too great that's worth somebody being able to know or tell. If you could know, if someone could sit there and tell you, hey, this is what's going to happen to you today, would you want to know? Would you live your life differently? Would you try to make different decisions to try to change that outcome? Would the outcome change even if you try to change it? Is there a system in place that already decides that you will live at this time and you will die at this time? And no matter what you do in that span of time, those two constants will remain true. Is it possible that free will can exist within two boundaries of determinism? Does determinism mean that every single thing that happens within this band of time is already predetermined? Or does it mean that it's just the beginning and the end, and the middle is the free will part? Sounds a little bit more likely. But I just don't know. And if free will does exist between these two bands of determinism, then what the hell is the point of free will? If I'm going to be born at this time in these environments to these people that I have no choice over, and if I'm going to die at this time and have no choice in it, why am I trying and fighting so hard within these two bands to live? Maybe it's because life is just worth living. But I can't say that for certain, because there are children who are born in slums with parasites eating at their face from birth. There are stillborns born. There are people born. There are people born with cancer. So it's like, what kind of life is that to live? A sick life? A life where you're tortured, where you're tormented from birth, where you're going through pain from the very beginning? What kind of life is that to live? You don't get free will in those decisions, in those circumstances. You don't get free will there. So for the people who don't get the free will there to make certain choices, because let's say this, right? Let's say you do have cancer from birth. Are the choices that you make because you have cancer fair choices to make? Are they fair choices to make? If someone's born and their mother is sick and they're born poor and they have no option to get any money or any medicine, so they make certain choices that may be robbing and stealing people in order to acquire things that would help save their family, was their choices truly free will? Because if your choices are limited to only a certain amount based on the environment that you're born in, the people that you're born to, and circumstances, is it truly free will? Or do we just delude ourselves into believing that we have free will because we like to believe that we have more power than we actually do? But really, we're just powerless. We're just powerless people here, just allowing the waves of life and the waves of other people and the waves of whatever the fuck chooses to happen that day to crash into us. And we constantly try to justify it. We constantly try to justify it and give a reason, but maybe there just isn't one. Maybe it is all just random, and we're just making sense of it all. But that would be fucking crazy, right? Because if it is all random and we're just the ones making sense of it all, if we're the ones applying these definitions to things that really are just random things, then what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? And what is this? And why are we here? And why do we care to know so much? And if we do know, what the hell would change? It's like humans came here, and there's other beings here too. We have animals and we have insects, and they can't do what we do. But they do play a cohesive nature in things. I don't know if they have a free will or not. I don't know if they're aware of what they're doing at the time, or if they're just moving through these random acts of things. But I know that they exist here as well with us. And because they exist here as well with us, it lets me know that, like, there's other forms of life. There's other ways of living in this life that isn't the torturous life that we live in our head. We literally are in here, and then we like look out into the world and we create these definitions of things, and based on those definitions of things is like how we then move. But other living things on this planet don't apply by those definitions. We just impose our will on that. We almost set our own selves up for failure. We almost torture ourselves with the way that we think and the way that we apply that logic and thought process to things. But really, if you didn't apply any of that to any of this stuff, then everything's kind of just happening in there. The only difference between you and having $1 million is somebody else's choice that has the resources already. Somebody that has a Warren Buffett could just look at you and go, here you go. And then your life is changed. Somebody else that has the resources could just give it to you, and then your life is completely different. But that's someone else's choice. Someone has to choose you. And what's going to put the will in them to choose you, I don't know. Not when there's billions of people out there that they could have chose. Why you? Randomness. It's just random. And we try to make sense of it all. And we feel this guilt. We feel guilty sometimes when people choose us. We feel guilty for being lucky. We feel guilty for it. But it's like, why do we feel guilty for the luck? You know? Shouldn't we just be grateful? We should just be grateful that, hey, Lady Luck shined on me today. Wonderful. But at the same time, I'm saddened because there are a lot of people who don't get that same luck every single day. And it's like, why? Why do some people deserve or have to live a torturous life worse than my own? Why do some people get to live a greater life than my own? And it's okay, well, what metrics are you defining this stuff by? What's great and what's more torturous? To me, what's more torturous is someone going through pain, physical pain, a sickness. That to me is a more torturous life. Someone that has a more benevolent life is someone that has maybe more resources, the more ability to make choices that they want to make because of the resources that they have at that time. Whether it's people, whether it's money, whether it's opportunity, they're able to make more choices and more decisions. Your decisions get limited based on a lot of different factors in your life. And sometimes the only good thing that you get is the opportunity to make whatever decision that you want to make in that moment. And we can all do that. If I wanted to go out there right now, butt naked and streak, I could do that. And that would be my choice, and I would be living a free life. But this society would see that, and they would constrain me into a box. They would throw me in a cage and go, hey, you're making far too many decisions on your own. You're making a decision that you shouldn't be making based on what we determine that your decision should be. So we're going to put you in this box here, and you're going to rot away. Because if you're out in this society where everybody else is making limited amount of choices, you don't get to make whatever choices you want. And that's kind of what jail is. That's kind of what school sets you up to learn how to do. Just really just become okay with the limited amount of choices that you have. And anytime that you try to make different choices outside of that, they're going to put you in a box. And they've somehow brainwashed these people that put you in the box to believe that what they're doing is just. But it's not just. Just for who? Why aren't people able to just go out there and make whatever choice they want? Why? What's the harm? For survival? Survival for who? For who? Because it seems like only the people at the top with the most resources benefit the most from other people's survival. If other people don't survive, then the people at the top don't have nobody to work for them, so they don't get the resources, so they don't get to be. So it's important that the people at the bottom survive and fight and work and work and work, or else the people at the top don't have anybody to work for them. They don't get the resources. They don't get the choices. Is my life literally just giving somebody else more choices and more opportunities than my own? Or do I have the ability to become that same person as well? And if I do become that same person as well, am I a devil too? Am I a demon to someone else's life? Am I a God playing puppet to other people's life? So do I go to heaven or hell? Is there a heaven or hell? Probably not. Because when I talk about all these things, how can a heaven and hell exist in that? Free will and determinism, man. These are the things that I literally think about all the time. But still, I make choices that I believe feel good and feel right. I try to become a vessel that is open to certain decisions and choices. And that's what I do. And it rains down into my brain, and that's how I live. I don't know. What do you guys think?